There's a tonight, fourth night. There's a mavucha which we'll talk about. We'll go like both studim. Right, there's a confusion as to whether the Ushpizin tonight is Yosef Kafi Seder told us, or Moshe Rabbeinu Kafi the Seder of the Spheres, Kaidu the Midas. Right, in this sukkah, it's Moshe is the guest because Yosef is Doch the Balabais. Right. Moshe help should be Mekoyim Hakol Huva Beisa Yosef Tamid. The Gabi Disinyan that we'll start off with this. A Marganisa Tova Shalot Tishakach Torah Yisrael, a beautiful pearl from Hashoeva Zechron Livracha, saying that he didn't want to say Bifnei Am Ve'eda. He once years ago, he was by his children in Flatbush, and he did a joint tish in a sukkah together with Yibadol Chaim Ton, Rav Aaron Schechter. And they asked the question that should bother any thinking person: how is it possible that Lafid Seder Hamidus, you have Yosef after Moshe and Aaron, the Ishtalshus of the Midas, and Yosef comes after Moshe and Aaron when in history he came first. You would think that the two should run perfectly parallel. So B'fnei Am Ve'eda, he didn't want to say. He said that I looked in Sfarim, I didn't find, and Yibadol Chaim Ton, Rav Aaron Schechter didn't say Mahalach either. But to me, he told me, Mipela Oizen. Right, but Shaloti Shakach Torah is a roy that to be mafarsim, that this Marganisa Tova shouldn't be forgotten. He says you should know like this: the halacha is Yilmad Torah v'achar kach Yisa Isha. Yitzro Mizgaber Lav Yisa Isha v'achar kach Yilmad Torah. The Dr. Hashoeva Zechron Livracha. The pshat is like this: the Ikar Mahalach is that shouldn't be Yitzro Mizgaber Olav. It's Yilmad Torah V'achkach Yisa Isha, and the feed that Mahalach Yilmad Torah. It's Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe and Aaron, Torah Shebechsav and Torah Shebal Peh, and then Yisa Isha comes the Kayadur, the Midah of Yisod. That's Mischaber the Malchus. That's Yisa Isha. That's the Ikar Seder that should be right. But Ober Yitzro Mizgaber Olav. So then you're Mahapech the Seder Yisa Isha V'achkach Yilmad Torah, and the mitzad, the history of the world, and we're going to talk more about this tonight. Mitzad, the history of the world, the Hisgabrus Hara that there was because of Chet Adam Rishon, and then after that the Dor Amabo and the Dor Aflaga, it was all begeder Yitzro Mizgaber Love. So then the halacha is Mahapech the Seder Yisa Isha V'achar Kach Yilmad Torah, and therefore mitzad that Yosef Atzak had to be born earlier to give us the koch to be oimed in Ervas Ha'oretz, connected in Mitzrayim, that's called Ervas Ha'oretz, ki Ervas Ha'oretz Basam Liros, right, to be oimed, connected the Ra, right, as a countermeasure. So Yosef had to be Magdim Yosef in history, besod Yisa Isha, V'achkach Yilmad Torah, so we had Yosef at Tzaddik, and then we had Moshe Rabbeinu, the Dibur Pi Chacham Chen. Whatever, I shared this idea with one of the Mekubalim of the door, and he politely said he likes it. One of the Sephardic Mekubalim, just to show the difference between the Ashkenazic approach and the Sephardic approach. And his son was listening behind, said, "Zeh philosophia, it's a little Kabbalah." It's Simchas Beis Hashoeva, right? Call me Shalor Simchas Laura Simcha Miyamav. What did they say there? What were the cheers that they said? All right, so the tzaddikim and the chasim and Anshe Maisa said that our Yaldus was not mevayish our ziknus. We have nothing to be ashamed of. That's right. Ashrei Ziknesha Kafri Al Seder. Those were the Balei Tshuva. And everyone said, Ashrei mi shalochata, mi shechata yachzor v'yimchalo. You can imagine seeing that by Chasna. This is like the happiest event in history, right? And this is the type of things they're saying. It's depressing. I understand, ma ra'u al kacha, to say such things. And then the words of Hillel Zaken, that he said both, so Mamad, that the Gemara brings out, it's a little bit tamua. Imani kan hako kan imata vola besi ani vola besi imata lota vola besi ani lo vola besi. that these things need explanation. But of course, what seemingly is the hardest to understand, that hill that was the Gadol in Anova, Anvetan Kehillah, we find the Kuli Shas, Anvetan Kehillah, Imani Kan Hakol Kan. It's an amazing thing. Right. And that's what he said by the Simchas Beis Hashoeva. Right. Another thing to understand is that Kayadua, the Tzdukim had a problem with Nisuch HaMayim. So there was this Tzduki that was Menasech al Gabe Raglav, Ragmu Kol Am Be'esro Gehem. So obviously the fundamental thing to understand is what's wrong with Nisuch HaMayim. What did the Tzdukim want to start up with Nisuch HaMayim in particular? They picked and chose what they fought about. Right? They didn't always argue on the Torah Shabbat Peh. Like for instance, Bris Milah. They still do it in the same place we do it. It's not inspired in the Torah Shabbat anywhere where to cut. Doesn't say where to cut. There must have been an agenda that they dafka start up with Nisuch HaMayim, because whenever the Masorah fit their agenda, they didn't krig on the Masorah. Right? So they had a problem with Nisuch HaMayim. Right? And you understand also that Ragbu Kol Am Be'esro Gehem. Why didn't they throw the lulav at him? Would have hurt more, right? There's an amkus there that needs to be understood. Right? So they use like this. Right? The Indian of Nisuch HaMayim. Right? That we bring up the mayim that's mitachas la'aretz. Right, we raise it up, and we give it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Which is it's negating two laws that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was kovea. Right? The laws that he was kovea on Yom HaSheni and Yom HaShlishi. So on Yom HaSheni is when he split the waters, right? Yirakia b'sochamayim b'mavdo ben mayim l'mayim, and of course it doesn't say yet kitov then. Right? Yom HaSheni doesn't say kitov. So one of the Lashonos in the Midrashim is because lo nigmar Yom HaShlishi, that yikava mayim el makom echad v'teira yabasha, that we tuck the waters, as it were, under the earth. And here with Nisuch HaMayim, we're undoing that. Right? We're undoing the rakia that's mavdil ben mayim el mayim, and we're undoing the memra of yikava mayim el tachas el makachad v'teira yabasha. Right, we're undoing that, and we're raising up the waters. Right, so what's the pshat in this avodah of Nisuch HaMayim? What's the point? And we say that this, the Gemara says that that b'schus Nisuch HaMayim there's geshamin. That's what brings rain. Right, even though it's a reverse peula. Right, we're raising water from under the earth. Right, and the countermeasure is that you get rain that comes down from heaven to earth. We go bottom up. And connected that water comes top down. That's royalties boning ba'inyan. There's like this. The Medrash says that Kodem Shebara Kadosh Baruch Hu es Adam Haya Kiluso Ole Min Hamayim Shenemar Mikolos Mayim Rabim Adir Mishbar Yam Adir Bamar Mashem. For Kadosh Baruch Hu created Adam. So his praise came from the mayim. It says that the mikolos mayim rabim adir mishbarayam adir b'amarom Hashem. And then when he split the waters, hoya kilusa olam in adam. Now the adam has a place to stand, and the adam gives shevach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Medrash goes on to give a mashal, that mashal ma'adavar doime, that a king, his palace was staffed by a bunch of deaf mutes, and so then they were, they signaled each other and they communicated biramiza, with sign language, and the king thought he'd get greater shevach from servants that could speak, could hear and could speak. All right, so he fired all the ilmim and he brought in the speakers. Those could hear and speak. But these people, because they're barei das, right? They have a mind of their own, and they have a mind of their own. They started thinking, and they decided one day to lock the king out, and they'd mutiny, and they took over the palace. So when the king was nizgaber, he says, "I'm bringing back the deaf mutes." So also HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the waters. Shea kilusa olam in Adam. But then the Adam rebelled against him. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, conquered again humanity by, he says, Hashem la mabul yashav. I'm bringing the waters back. And that was the end of the mabul. Hashem la mabul yashav. Yashav, he brings back the waters. Shea kilusa olam min amayim again, because it didn't work out with the Adam. Right? What's the Indian? What's the kilusa olam min amayim? What shevach? What shevach is there that what does the water say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? That the Adam failed to make the grade, and that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought the waters back, and that was the end of the Mabul. Hashem la Mabul Yashav. It's called he brought the waters back. Right? Ousted the Adam. Right? So it is like this when the world was mayim b'mayim. So the first day of creation. So it says Vayeroka Yom Echad. So the Medrash goes on, the famous guy should say Yom Rishon. Because it's supposed to be a second day. It's going to be Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi. Yom Echad she'HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yochid Ba'olamo. Because the Indian is that when everything is underwater, so nothing has a tzura when it's underwater. Everything is dissolved. Right, water has no tzura, that is both physically and also it has no properties. It has no odor. It has no color. So there's nothing to obscure the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Yachid Ba'olamo, and that's the Kilus She'olam Min Hamayim, and that's saying that things are nitaher in water. That the idea that things when they're underwater, it says already in the Rishonim, when you put something underwater, if it'll stay there for a long time, it'll dissolve. So even if you didn't leave it there long enough for it to dissolve, but that's what being underwater represents. That there's nothing that has a kiyum, that would in any way obscure the mitzias of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he's yachid ve'ein bilto. That's it. So it's Yom Echad she'HaKadosh Baruch Hu yachid ba'olamo, Echad ve'ein sheni. That's when the whole world was underwater. The Indian that he split the waters on Yom HaSheni. Was to make room that there should be something else called the Adam. Be a kilusa olam min Adam. That the Adam should be the thing that praises him. That is that there should be a bardas. The problem is with the challenge of a bardas, he may have a mind of his own. Let's say kid amri inche, a mind of his own, right? And could rebel. But if he doesn't rebel, it's a bigger shevach than something that's not a bar das, that just follows HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'tzura muchrachat, without bechira. And that's HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to be a melech. Right? And the difference between a melech and a moshel, so the Rishonim already say, right? A moshel, is reigns by force. A melech reigns because the people chose him. They were mamlich him. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to be a melech and not a moshel. And that's Kiyad L'Hashem Hamlucha U'Moshel Bagoyim. But the Goyim, they're not Makal Melech, but he still reigns over them. But Bekoach, right? That with B'Memshala, not B'Mlucha. Right? He forces them. Right? And that's the difference between going Acharei, right? Following orders. You follow a dictator. That's called to be like Acharei. Follow Acharei HaMelech, right? But Acharei, you go, after him. Follow. HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want to be followed. He wanted to be ponim el ponim, face to face. Right? But to be face to face, right? And facing is only of significance if it's by choice. A statue is not facing you, right? Because it doesn't have a choice to face away. It's not turning towards you. Right? The avodah that he wanted from a bardas to be a melech and not a moshel, is that there's a ben bechir that could turn. He has a mind of his own. He can either turn away or turn towards. But then it's a different relationship. When there's bechira to look away or look towards, it's called ponim el ponim. As opposed to when it's bekoach muchrach, without bechira, it's called acharei, just following. Right. Very good. Excellent. Right on. Right. There's an issue of following and there's an issue of facing. Right. All the kochos hateva follow HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and even the goyim lamala midaitom, they're not bocharis, but they follow because there's hu be'echad umi yeshivenu. There's no doing against his will, but it's called that bekoach machriach. They follow. They followed the dictates, right? It's not bibchira. When it's bibchira, it's called to turn towards, and it's a different relation of ponim b'ponim. Right? And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted from the avodas ha'adam. Right? So now, take a look. Underwater, there's no difference between north, south, west, east. You need open space. For there to be a chiluk of kivunim, you need open space. Underwater is all one rishus. It's really one rishus, which is called no rishus whatsoever, because Kaidua Yam has a din of Carmelis. It's nowhere. It is nowhere. It's not rishus hayoch. It's not rishus haram. Underwater is nowhere, right? That there should be, there should be a makom, be it rishus hayoch, be it rishus harabim. You need space. Right? And that was the function of the rakia b'soch hamayim, to create space. Right? Below nigmar melachto ad yom hashlishi, and that's why it doesn't say kitov, because space, open space is not of significance if there's no place to stand. Right? And then once there's a place to stand, right, there's oretz. So now there's now an Indian of rishus hayochid, rishus harabim, and there's an Indian of either being separate or being ma'arev the reshuyos into a reshus hayochid that we're going to talk about in a second. Underwater, everything is in the same place, which is no place whatsoever. There's a kosher who yochid bolamo. And that's about the idea of what to be mechavim when a person goes to the mikveh, or you're toivel something in the mikveh, that under there it dissolves. Right, it lost its own surah, and it's bottled to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and with that it's nitaher. So now there's another shita in the medrash that why it doesn't say kitov on Yom HaSheni. So another lashon in the medrash is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu paid back on Yom HaShishi. Ra'okim es kol asher osa v'hinei tov ma'od. So that goes back l'mafreya on Yom HaSheni. That's the payback. What happened on Yom HaShishi? That's when HaKadosh Baruch Hu was buried the Adam, and that's also a lashon in Medrash, right? Tov ma'od is oisias Adam. That's what was nivra on Yom HaShishi, because the whole tachlis of splitting the water was to come lidei the Adam. And so there's another thing that Chazal say on that medrash, right? On that words, tov ma'od, right? Famous medrash, right? Tov zachaim, tov ma'od zamisa, tov ze Gan Eden, tov ma'od ze Gehenna. Tov, it goes on, that it says, tov is everything that's na'im, and tov ma'od is the yisurin. The very good is all the bad things. Right? Because the Indian is like this, right? The potential to turn away, right, and to go into sitra achra, as if there's another side, as if there's od movado, and still you don't, and afal pikein you don't, right? And you still turn towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's called tosefet tova, because you're being mitzaref, the potential for ra, you're adding that to the tov. So the tov is what the tov is. The tosefet tova is the potential for evil, and when that comes to serve, and your poneh, miloshin ponim, your poneh, your mafneh, you turn the whole thing litova. That's called tosefet tova. That's called to add to the tov that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave. HaKadosh Baruch Hu already gave the tov. Elkim kitov. He already gave it. Man's mission is to make the tov ma'od, and the way man accomplishes that is that all the potential for evil that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made room for, and that was all in the rakia b'soch hamayim, turning that all towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's the tosefet tova that makes tov ma'od. All the potential for Misa, and for Gehenna, right, and Yisurin, and all the bad things, the Yetzer Hara, all these things, turning it towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that becomes tosefet tova, that makes it from tov to tov ma'od. And that's the avodas ha'adam. Problem is that the Adam sees the petach, right, to be orek mikame more, and he runs with it, takes the ball and runs with it. And that's the problem. And that's what happened with the Dora Mabul. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Hashem la Mabul Yashav, right, I'm bringing back the waters. Right? So he broke that rakia b'soch hamayim, right? And says niftecha rubashayim, right? And nivku tahomos rabba varubas hashamayim niftachu. He undid what he created on Yom HaSheni and Yom HaShlishi, and brought the world back to a matzav of mayim b'mayim. Right? So it's an amazing thing. Everyone knows the famous Gemara in Chul and Daf Kuf Lamed Tes, right? Moshe min Torah minayin, right? Lo yadu nuchi b'adam ba'olam b'shagam hu basar v'yorav meir shana b'shagam gematria Moshe. The Gzeras HaMabul, right, is a remiss to Moshe Rabbeinu. What? Huh? that passage, which is a Gzeras HaMabul, it was 120 years till the Mabul comes. Right? That's the remiss to Moshe Rabbeinu min Torah. Ma'akesh. Right? Right, because that's exactly what Moshe Rabbeinu did. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu actualizes what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted from the Adam. Right? That which the Mabul HaKadosh had to bring back the Mabul, bring back the Mayim, because the Adam failed. The tikkun of the Adam, right? That the Adam is taka better than the water. The Adam is better than the water. That was actualized through Moshe Rabbeinu. And that's the side. Why it's called Moshe Ki Mina Mayim Mishisiu. He's above the Mayim. He's better than the water. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu was the one that reconciled, right, the Metzius of the Adam with total hisbatlis to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He reconciled that. Right? He made the tikkun. Right? The HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm bringing the mabul, but it's alminas, I'm resetting everything. But I'm resetting everything not because HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't make mistakes. That which he wanted the Adam. It's not trying to Havamina, and the Havamina was a mistake, and Chas v'sholom. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't make mistakes. Right? It'll be Mekuyim, the rotzen that there should be an be Mekuyim with Moshe Rabbeinu, tonight's Ushpizin. Right? And that's Ki Mina Mayim Mishisiu. He's bigger than the water. Right? And he's going to be able to exist, and still with a Hakara Brura, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ki Hashem Elokim, Ein Od Milvado. In a Medrash in Parshas V'zos HaBracha. It's mamish coming up. Next Parsha we're going to read, V'zos HaBracha. Medrash Parsha that Moshe Rabbeinu's dying wish. Right? Before he died, he said, Ribor Shalom, this is the Lashon HaMedrash, right? Ptach Sharei Shamayim V'tahoimus. Open it all up. V'yedu ki ein milvaldecha. Everyone should know ein milvado. We'll also break open heaven and the tahom, as if the world's flooded again. Break open the rakia b'sochamayim and the oretz. Break it all open, right? V'yedu ki ein milvadecha. Right? Shenemar ki Hashem Elokim b'shamayim v'aretz mitochas ein od. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, b'schus that you wanted that, so I'm also going to say, Lo kam b'Yisrael, Navi k'Moshe od. Right? Also, you're going to be one of a kind. You're going to be Ein od milvadecha. No one's on the nevuah, madrig of nevuah of Moshe Rabbeinu. Right? And it's an old lashon in Medrash that Bo Moshe vehemido afil b'chalolo shel olam. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere, not just b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, but afil b'chalolo shel olam, as if the space that the air that we breathe, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere, even b'chalolo shel olam. Right? Shedemar ki Hashem ki b'sham v'aretz mitochas ein od. Right? That Moshe Rabbeinu was omed in this behirus, as if we're still underwater. That Hashem is yochid ba'olama. Moshe Rabbeinu brings that into the world, and that's really the significance of Torah coming down from Shamayim to Oretz. Torah, which is Gili Elokus, right? That it came down to the earth. It fills the whole span of the universe. This clarity, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is ve'ein bilto, but now the Shevach Olam min Adam, who's a Ben Bechira, to acknowledge the absoluteness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with the same clarity as if the whole world's underwater, even though the world's not underwater. Right? And that Moshe Rabbeinu actualized.
It's kind of ironic that his only fate is that he's tripped up by water.
Yes. Right? He's a perpetual competition with water. He's a perpetual competition with water. Right? To be better than the water. Right? No, about it, that's saying that the Mitzrayim, they're on this chazik in the koach of Mayim, except they wanted to go back to the Mabul, and of course that's what it means. Moshe Rabbeinu Zohar says this, that he was in a teva, just like Noach. He started his life in an ark, the Yocheved and Miriam put him in a teva, right? But he went higher than Noach, right? To be to have the clarity as if the whole world is still underwater. Ein mayim el Torah, right? Bring with the clarity of Torah filling up chalolo shel olam, right? You could still have the water split, but there's still the hakara, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is ve'ein bilto, and that's the tachlis of Torah, right? Ato reisol adas ki Hashem Elokim ein od. So the so Kayadua, the place where this is most manifest and revealed, even though the whole mitzvahs of Torah on earth. And by the way, it's another lashon mentioned in this upcoming parsha, also in Zosa Bracha, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, when HaKadosh created the world, Shamayim is Shamayim, the Elyonim are Elyonim, and Tachtonim are Tachtonim. And as if there's like something mavdil, there's this Rakia B'soch HaMayim that's mavdil. Moshe Rabbeinu broke that rule, right? Because it says, Moshe Ola Elokim, and then he caused the B'schuso Vayered Hashem al Har Sinai. He broke that rule. He broke the Rakia B'soch HaMayim. This Rakia that's mother, he broke it. He broke that Rakia B'soch HaMayim. Right? And so even there's the Metzias of the Adam together with the Hakadosh Baruch Hu is Echad Ve'ein Bilta. And he broke that Rakia B'soch HaMayim. Right? And the whole tachlis of that Rakia B'soch HaMayim, right, is beside machlokas l'shem shamayim. It's a zor in Daf Yud Zayin. And by the way, the whole Rakia B'soch HaMayim is beside machlokas l'shem shamayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the waters, but l'shem shamayim, right? That should make the possibility of being makar HaKadosh Baruch Hu with bechira, that we could be pointed to him, and that changes the whole relationship between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the universe, because when everything's underwater, everything's just holech acharav. Follows him. Right? That when you have the Rakia B'soch HaMayim that gives the facade of separate space, then it could be, the relationship could be ponim al ponim. And it's mamash mashal ma'adavar doimeh. Right? The relationship between Zachar and Nekeva, when they were originally created, they were du partsufin. They were back to back. Adam and Chava were back to back. Right? You had to have the Nesira, saw them apart, right? Which initially is a pirud. But for what purpose? For a constructive purpose that then they could be nizdaveg, ponim al ponim. Right? And that's mamash in the big picture, in the cosmos. That's the tachlis of the Rakia B'soch HaMayim. It's mamash parallel to the Nesira that there is between Adam and Chava to seemingly separate them, but that the relationship now, instead of being ochor ba'ochor, can now be ponim b'ponim, which was actualized Ayidei Moshe Rabbeinu by Mamer Aseh, ponim b'ponim Diber Hashem imochem. Right? Like the zivuk of Zachar and Nekeva. Right? Which Kayadua, with this, we're overlapping from the relationship between Moshe Rabbeinu and Yosef HaTzadik, the two Bale, the two Ishpizin of tonight. And it's not a mikra that Moshe Rabbeinu was Moser Nefesh, while Am Yisrael was asuk in taking Bizas Mitzrayim, Kesef and Zav, Chacham Levi, Kach Mitzvahs, and Moshe Rabbeinu went for Arono Shel Yosef. Right? These two people Ishpizin of tonight had parallel missions of making the chibur of Kichol Bashamayim Uvaretz, to close the gap between heaven and earth, right? That the Adam with Bechira closes it. And with the Adam with Bechira closing that gap, that makes a relationship, that relationship is called Panim B'Panim. As opposed to if it would never been split in the first place, it's called Ochor Ba'ochor. And that's nice, but that's not the highest shevach of, and not the highest intimacy of the relationship of Panim B'Panim. Right? And that's the inyan, right? That the Simchas Beis Hashoeva, right, was done on these steps between the Ezras Yisrael and the Ezras Noshim, right? And the 15 Shira Malos, right, are connected those 15 steps, the Tesva of Malos, that there were between the Ezras Noshim and Ezras Yisrael. That's where all the music was. Right? Because the truth is like this, like the Gemara says in Chagiga, right, that when Ben Zoma said, Sofasi Ben Mayim El Yom HaTachrim, and there's a hevdo of 3 etzbos. When Chazal heard it said, Adayim Ben Zoma B'chutz, and it wasn't Lo Orchu HaYamim V'loya Ben Zoma Ba'olam, it was Nifter Shoy, it was a toast. And it's like a pot and it's lid on top of it. Right? Really, there's no gap between the Mayim El Yor and Mayim HaTachtonim, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere equally. Right? It's just a facade. Right? It's just an illusion to give us our avodah that with Bechira we should be Megala. Right? That there is no Mechitza Mavdil. It's a Machlokas, like the Zohar says, L'Shem Shamayim. And that's where, the same Zohar right there in Daf Yud Zayin says, that's where Hillel and Shammai are mushrosh. Right? Hillel is the midah of Oretz, and Shamayim miloshin Shamayim. Right? It's machlokas l'shem Shamayim, like machlokas Hillel v'Shamai. Right? Who didn't want this machlokas l'shem Shamayim? He didn't want there to be any differences. Everyone's all the same. Korach. Machlokas she'enu l'shem Shamayim zu machlokas Korach v'chol adoso. So like we heard in Ba'arichus Nifla, Ba'amkus Nifla, that we can't recap right now, from Murray Varabi or Moshe Shapiro, Zozain Gesund und Stark. Right? That's why Korach was, Korach doesn't want machlokas l'shem Shamayim. He wants everyone the same. Kol Eda Kulam Kedoshim. When the whole Yaakov was Chilek Masav Umolach Aleim, and that's the Lashon Chilek Masav Umolach, because he wants to be a Melech and not a Moshe. And he wants that you should be mamachim with bechira, and for that you have to separate people, give them a separate space, and then everyone should turn towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu and be mamach chilek masav umolach aleim bayom hasheni chilek masav umolach aleim. Korach doesn't want it; he wants kol eda. Everyone should be the same. Everyone should be kohanim. Says no. For that, the waters didn't part for that, and of course the finality of the waters parting is v'tira yabasha. I did it for the sake of machlokas l'shem Shabbat. You don't want machlokas Shabbat. So for him, there's no oretz. So he sank right through the earth as if it's not there. Because the whole tachlis of why the earth was revealed is for machlokas l'shem shamayim. Right? He doesn't want machlokas l'shem. He wants everyone the same. So for him, there's no oretz. So he sank right through as if there is no oretz. So he was swallowed up by the earth. Right? And he was right.
He lost the makkah.
That's right. Right? So he sank right there as if there's no oretz under him. It's as if for him there wasn't Yom Sheni and Yom Shlishi. So he just went right through it as if there's no oretz there, because the whole oretz was there to make machlokas l'shem shamayim. Right? And we're going to get back to that in a second. Right? So now with this we can understand what's going on with the tzdukim. Right? It's a davar nifla mode. Right, when a person comes to, how did it all start? Where did it all start from? The Machlokas, the Tzdukim, and the Prushin. Antignos Ish Socho taught the Mishnah. Right? Al Tiavar Mrshav Shav Shalom Nasakab Bras. Right? Sorokim Baisus were in the Shir. Said, no way. Right? I'm Lo Oved Chinam. Right? I'm not. Right? Lo Yefraya. Well. Lo friar. Right? I'm no sucker. I'm not working for nothing. Right? And they dumped it. Right? And they started their own cult. So it's over Niflali's bonain. Right? They dumped the Torah Sheba'al Peh, not the Torah Shebechsav. So like the Rambam points out in the Pirush HaMishnayos, and it's muchach from a few sugyos and Shas, Ein Kam Makom L'Arach, they didn't believe that Chumash is Min HaShamayim either. Right? But they couldn't suffer a cultural vacuum, especially if they wanted followers. Right? But they were willing to stick with the Chumash and not with the Torah Sheba'al Peh, because Davar Niflali's bonain. Something amazing to think about, right? This that you're Oved HaKadosh Hu Lishma and not Amnas Kal Pras, that's not in Torah Shebechsav anywhere. Adarabah, from the Chumash you get the picture, Ke'ilu, Lasat Gish V'chem Be'itam, right? It's all you do, you get rewarded, right? Right? This message that you're Oved HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Shalom Kal Pras, Lishma, that's only in Torah Sheba'al Peh. You won't find a makor for it in the Chumash. Right, just al derech remazim mod dakim. It's amazing, right? And it's davar nifla is bodli's boning. The pasuk says in Eov, "Aruka me'eretz mida urachava mini yam." So Chazal dash Aruka me'eretz mida eretz zu Torah shebechsav urachava mini yam zu Torah sheba'al peh. Right? Torah shebechsav is called Aruch. Right? Torah Sheba'al Peh is called Rachav, wide. And this one is Nimshal Lo'aretz, and the Torah Sheba'al Peh is Nimshal Le'yam. So the Goyin talks about this in his Pirushim on Rabbi Bar Choras, Nifla Lizboni. So just think about this. Right? Torah Sheba'al Peh is lines. Right? It's written, Shurot. And that's Aruch. Theoretically, if you could have a parchment long enough, you could write all the Torah Sheba'al Peh, all the Torah Sheba'al Peh, I meant to say, all on one line. Not just you don't have the parchment that long, so you have to do shurot.
No
one.
Psukos?
What?
No psukos?
No, maybe psukos and stubos, but you keep on moving, right?
Psukim is just starting a new line.
Right? Whatever it means. It means that the theoretically, it's lines. It's only aruch. Right? It's only aruch. It's not rachav. Because what does the Torah Sheba'al Peh do? It fills in the gaps between the lines by cross-referencing a kal v'chomer from this part to that part. A binyanav, a gzera shava. It fills in the space between the lines. That's rachav. Right? The space between the lines is rochav, is width. Right? The pshat is like this: in Torah Shebechsav, it's one-dimensional. Right? It's only aruch. And that's, so in the space between the lines, you can put in whatever interpretation you want. In Torah Sheba'al Peh, that closes the gap between the lines, between the with all the midas shaton and dreshbem, that cross-references and fills in the space between the lines, you have no room to put in your own stuff. Right? You're blocked out. It's like you got swamped. You got no place to shtuparein, your own stuff, right? They were very happy with the Torah Shebechsav without the Torah Sheba'al Peh, because that way you could read into it whatever you want, right? And the Rambam writes in the Moreh Nevuchim an amazing thing, right? That we're mitztayer so much. I'm paraphrasing. We're mitztayer so much that Kosh will put the Torah Shebechsav in writing, because once something is in writing, everyone can put their own spin on it. Right? And we're so lucky, the Rambam writes this, that Yaakov will put at least the Torah Sheba'al Peh, because when you have to be mekabel mipeh la'ozen, right, there's no room to read into it, because the guy will explain to you exactly what he meant, right? And it will give it to you with the right tone of voice, that you know exactly, can't put no spin on the words, because he's going to give it to you with the full parshanut, and with the full tone, that leaves no room for imagination.
That's why the Nida, which is Torah Shebechsav, says Gematria 49. It's 49 ways you can be Matar or Sheretz. You can go either way. You can explain.
Excellent. Right. Correct. Right. And there's so now the Oretz is Aruka me Eretz Mida, because in Oretz, when you stand on dry land, you could be pona towards, be pona away, like we explained. Yam is all one rishus or no rishus whatsoever, right? So now in Torah Shebechsav is Aruka me'eretz mida. It's long, but it's ke'eretz, right? And you could, there's a lot of room there's latitude between the lines, right? Torah Sheba'al Peh urachava miniyam, right? It doesn't leave you no latitude. It swamps everything. That's a Lashon Chazal. Olam hazeh domeh le'eretz. Olam haba domeh liyam. Right? Because in Olam haba, there's nowhere. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere. There's no looking away and seeing something else. Shechina is everywhere. Right? And that's saying that Kofel Har Kegigis, the Medrash Tanchuma says, was on Torah Sheba'al Peh. Right? In Torah Shebechsav, there's room for, you read into it whatever you want. A couple of Magigos on Torah Sheba'al Peh takes away, it strips away room for the imagination, right? And even the parshanut and how you're going to build with it and how you're going to work with it forwards is also al pi Hashem. You never have your own. Even though, and the amazing irony is that Torah Sheba'al Peh is called Ubetaraso Yege Yomam V'Layla. You have a kinyan, it's called yours, but that's why Talmud Chacham Shemacha Kvodo Kvodo Machu. But nonetheless, with Torah Sheba'al Peh, you're stuck, right? There's total hisbatlus to Ratzon Hashem, and that's the secret. Why the Indian of Lishma. You just do it for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and there's no zich, there's no sense of self. That was this bar in the Torah Sheba'al Peh, and not in the Torah Shebechsav. Because the Torah Shebechsav, that's nimshal le'eretz, to dry land, there's a place to stand. I have my perspective. I'll read into it the way I see. In Torah Sheba'al Peh, no place to stand. Nimshal le'yam, right? There's no place to stand. Everything, even how you interpret it and how you're going to build with it onwards is also al pi Ratzon Hashem. Right? There's no sense of self and no putting your own spin on it. So even though the amazing irony is that's where we have our most kinyan in Torah, right? But it comes with total isbatlus, and that's why the Indian of Lishmo is only in Nizbayer, in the Torah Sheba'al Peh, and not in the Torah Shebechsav. And the Torah Shebechsav is called Eretz. right? And the Torah Shabbat Peh is called Yam, and that's why you find Losh Chazal, Yam HaTalmud, right? It floods everything. It leaves no, with the Torah Shabbat Peh, right? There's no open speculation that I decided or I feel, right? There's Gidrei Talmud Torah of how everything is handled, and you never leave the hekef of Ratzon Hashem. And therefore, it basically is mevatel the zich, right? That there's no sense of self, and everything will be the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted. It's an amazing thing, right? The Gemara says in Avodah Zarah Daf Nun Daled that min hadin, right? It should be that if a person steals a saw of chitim, right, and he plants it, min hadin, it shouldn't grow, right? Because he stole, right? Right? El olam kaminhago noeg. And then it brings another message that minadin, if a person's a bull and ever shouldn't be molid, right? Because he did something wrong. Why should he be molid, right? But olam kamin hago noeg v'oso shekilkulu asin literes adin. Amazing thing, right? Those two things are called derech eretz, right? Eretz chitin and kayadua, derech eretz. The zivuk is also called derech eretz, right? That in eretz there's the possibility of going against Ratzon Hashem, but we believe that la'asilavo yitnu esadin. That's called olam kaminhago noheg. That's the midah called eretz, the midah called malchus. That lesla einin, the Zohar says, there's no eyes. It's deaf, dumb, and blind. It's olam kaminhago noheg. That's what the tzdukim wanted. They wanted olam kaminhago noheg. They wanted to go only with the Torah Shabbat and not the Torah Shabbat, which leaves room for the zich. And that's the secret also. They had a problem. They didn't want to do Keteris Lifnim. Makesha. That was another war that they had with the Prusha. We had to be mashbir a coin. Go over here, you do the Keteris Bifnim, not Bachutz. What was their hang-up? Right? Because Bifnim, the Odom is bottle. Right? You go in there, that's why everyone dropped dead if you wasn't roy, because you saw Ha'aron Enam Min Amida, you saw things that you couldn't wrap your head around. And if you didn't have total isbatlus to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and you weren't good with it, you would drop dead. Because it would be you versus the Gilu Shechina, you die. Unless you're a total isbatlus Gemura. So you did the Ketaris Bachutz. They want Oretz. They don't want Nisuch HaMayim. Because Nisuch HaMayim represents raising the waters above the Oretz. We want to flood the world. We want to flood the world, right, with the clear Havana. Right, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Hu ve'ein bilto, and there's no room for you to do anything else that you want.
That's why they spilled it on the ground at their feet.
That's right. Nisuch al gabe ragleim. We want a place to stand. We want standing. We want standing. V'ragmu kol am besrogeim, because kayadua in what bofen prat. There are 7 things, 7 entities that we have. 3 adasim, 2 aravos, 1 lulav, 1 esrog. Sacha calls 7. The last midah, right? That's called the midah of malchus, the midah of eretz, is the esrog. Ragmu kol ha'am be'esrogehem, right? They want land unconnected to Shemaim. They want Ha'aretz Nosav Bnei Adam, not with Hashemayim Shemayim LaHashem, the hefech of Moshe Rabbeinu, right? So that's Ragmu kol ha'am be'esrogehem, midah connected midah. You want the Aretz separate, so Ragmu kol ha'am be'esrogehem, which connected the midah of malchus, is called the midah of eretz. Right.
Big flood.
Right. Excellent. All right. So it's more than that. Right. Lo yarev lo yashizu b'chol harakochi ki mola arts deas Hashem kemayim layam mechasim. That's how the world's going to be flooded. Ki mola arts deas Hashem kemayim layam mechasim. Right? That even though the order should be, there should be the rakia besoch hamayim to be mavdil bemayim lamayim, but still but afal pk the adam who's a bar das and makes room for the das, right? But k'mor's deas Hashem kamayim layam mechasim. Even though there's a place to stand, it won't obscure, right? The HaKadosh Baruch Hu ve'ein bilto. And so, what is the mahalach of chibur, right? That there is, between. Right, Shamayim and Aretz, so we say it's betzim connected. There's no rakia b'soch hamayim, and that's a sifrei. Machatzti v'ani erpa, says the sifrei. Olai l'rapos es ha-mechitzas she'asisi. What needs to be healed in the world? The mechitza, right? That the vayavdo lahavdo ben mayim l'mayim. That the Sifrei says, what's wrong with the world is the machatzti. I made a mechitza ben elyon time. Vani erpa. That's what still needs to be healed. This mechitza, this rakia b'soch hamayim. is what needs to be healed. Right? When we say it's Be'etzem all together, the mahalach of chibur between them is like Zachar and Nekeva. Right? And that's the inyan that in the Beis Hamikdash we did the Nisuch Hamayim. So it says, Gedol Masei Tzadikim Yoser Mi Masei Shamayim V'Aretz. The Gemara says in Ksuvas Daf Hey, right? Shamayim was created with one yad, and Aretz with one yad. But Ober Mikdash Hashem Konenu Yadechos Shnei Yadayim, because the inyan is that one yad for Ruchnius, one yad for Gashmius, and Shamayim Aretz remain separate. The Beis Hamikdash is mechaber the two yadayim together. So the Gemara asks the Pirchan of it says, Umase Yadav Magid Harakia. So no, Mase Yadav of Akosh Mi Magid Harakia, that Yadav is still Gdol Mase Tzadikim, because we're Mispalo and Akshomim Yordim. Akshomim Yordim. Right, so Dover Niflo, the meaning of Geshem is that the Chibur of Shamayim and Aretz, that the Shamayim and Aretz don't remain separate. The Shamayim is Mefarnes and Zon and Mechalkel the Aretz. Right? And it's also therefore called two Yadayim, and it's all B'schus the Adam. Right? The Masei Tzadikim. We put the two hands together, and then we come to the Bar Hilula tonight. Can I do what Reb Nachman writes in the Ksavim, the end of clapping during davening? I'm not saying to do this, right? But he says, right, I was makabel. This is Kodesh HaKadoshim, because I was makabel this hezber in Rabbi Nachman from Reb Shlomo Carlebach. He was masber this to me, right? That the pshat, what it's written, in the Ksavim, he says this, that clapping is avira de Eretz Yisrael. That's right. It's written in Kutei Moran Kamakot. As I asked Reb Shlomo at a concert, right? What's the pshat, right? Right, so Rav Shlomo said, because it's ichud of the midas, right, which only happens in our Torah. Really in the Mokum HaMikdash. That's why Mikdash Shem Konu Yadecha, to bring together the two, and that's what we do with tefillah. We pull together the pieces. Ki Beisi based tefillah. We pull together the pieces. Shamayim and Aretz are in this achid over there. Right? And that's the pshat that David HaMelech was digging the foundations for the Beis HaMikdash. So as a Gemara in a few places in Shas. So flood, right? That over there, at that place where the two universes meet, there was going to be a flood. It was going to go back to Yom HaRishon. It was going to go back to that first day of creation, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yochid Bo Lomo. And David HaMelech, so he put that, the Chatila Cheres. But the amazing thing is that he darshaned the Kal V'chomer, and this is a David Niflali's Bonei, right? He darshaned the Achitofel darshaned the Kal V'chomer from Soita, right? That if HaKadosh Baruch Hu allowed his shame to be mochuk to make Shalom ben Ish L'Ishto, right? Kal V'chomer for the whole world. It's a David Niflali's Bonei. This is amazing, right? That the pshat is like this: we put the waters down to make pirud. For what purpose, right? Pirud, that things could go back to be panim b'panim, like the zivug of Zachar ben Nekeva, the Shalom Bayis ben Ish L'Ishto, like mamish the Nesira that there was. So they were achar b'achar, split them, and they should be panim b'panim, because this is what makes Shalom ben Ish L'Isha, right? And that's what the Simchas Beis Hashem was all about, right? So that it was on those steps that are mechaber between Ezra and the Ezras Nashim. Right, because that's the whole inyan. That really the whole world is together. Besod achibur zachar v'nekeva, right? And the world of today, that where this is all up in question. Hashem Yerachim, right? Right, because they want to keep things ochar ba'ochar. Hashem Yerachim. Hashem Yerachim. It's mamash a merit in the inyan of zivuk ponim al ponim. I don't want to be menabel p. It's mamash going against to keep things ochar, but not ponim al ponim. Hashem Yerachim, right? Because that's the whole thing, that it all fits together like Zachar and Nekeva, that Kayadua from Zohar. The Mayim that are Me'al Rakeh are called Mayim Duchrin, and the Mayim that are Mitachas are called Mayim Nukvim. And always be Malim Mayim Nukvim, and Keneged that come and they're Neschaber in Mayim Duchrin, right? And that's what seals it all up. Right? Zachu Shechina Shruya B'neim. The Shechina is everywhere. Zachu Shechina Shruya B'neim. Right? And that's what happened in the Mokum HaMikdash. And that's the Simchas Beis Hashoeva. Right? And when it's water everywhere, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere, there's no room for the zich anymore. Right? And that's what the Madrega of Moshe Rabbeinu, right? V'nachnu ma, and so Madrega of Yosef Atzadik also, even though he was, the brothers did him, pretty much big, disservice. Kila Michya Shlachan Elokim was all HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It wasn't you. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Right. Oh, very good. So that's Anova. Right, Anava. Right, the total is spotless takosh. And where is that madrega? How do we see that Moshe Rabbeinu was the biggest honor? He said v'nachnu ma, and kayadua from things that I'm learning with the balabais. Right, the mayim duchrin are called ma. Right, the or memhe. Right, and it gives and it supplements the mayim nukva that are called ban, and the zivuk between ma and ban is what makes tikkun, and the two come together, and that's what it says in the Gemara Tanis that by the Simchas Beis Hashoeva they heard a kol trei reyin, kol shnei reyim ani shomea, right? Two lovers, the mayim elyonim and mayim tachtonim, that really the whole period between them, right, is just an illusion, and they never really separate. Right? It's just that the Adam should reveal that. HaKadosh makes place for the Adam should reveal it, and the Zivug of Zachar and Nekeva is what closes that gap. Right? The closing the gap between the Yud of Ish and the Hey of Isha, that Kayadur, the Gemara says in Menachos, Ki B'ka Hashem Tzor Olamim. With Yud, the Olam HaElyon was Nivra, with that Shemayim Hashem was Nivra with Yud. And the Oretz Nosav Nam was Nivra with the Hey. And with Isha and Isha, you bring the Yud and the Hey together. That's the Trei Rei and the Lo Misparshin, the two lovers, Chachma and Bina, that never part. Right? But the Adam should reveal that, and that's the greater cues, because when the Adam reveals it, then that relationship is called Ponim El Ponim. Whereas if you just never leave it open for anyone to reveal, it will be called Ochor Be'ochor.
Try Hillel also.
Oh, so very good. So about Hillel, so it says, right? So that even his Talmidim Rosh Tishralem Shechina, right? K'Moshe. Rosh Tishralem Shechina K'Moshe. So Moshe said, "V'nachnu mas or Shechina Sharalem." God, he just views himself as a koch, to be metaken, right? Koch to be metaken, right? The whole world. No, he had no zich of himself. So what does Hillel say? Ukeshani la'atzmi ma'ani. He says ma, right? And that's what he says. Imani kan hakol kan, because total is batlus takosh baruch, because that's the simcha that there is by Simchas Hashoeva. But what if total is batlus, right? And you realize that even the potential for evil was created so as a hechitimtza, not to be separate space, like the tzdukim want to take it and run with it, take the land and run with it. Right, like Korach, right? Take the land and run with it, right? But it's the potential. It's to facilitate, be able to turn towards. There should be a relationship upon him, and that's the pshat. That's what they said, right? Ashrei Mishalochata, Mishachata Yachzor v'Yimchalo, right? To understand that the Rakia B'Sochamayim, right, and the Oretz that resulted afterwards, the whole point of it is to all turn back towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yachzor, Yoshuv, v'Yimchalo, turn back. Right, it's all the potential to turn towards, and that gives the whole significance of relationship upon him, and that's the simcha usmachtem lifnei Hashem Elokeichem shivas yomim, and that's the relationship between Yom Kippur and Sukkot, lifnei Hashem titaru, because there's another lashon in that medrash on Yom Rishon, Yom Echad b'shana. Shnas HaKadosh ben HaTzadikim HaRishon v'ezu zeh Yom HaKippurim. On Yom Kippur, it's lifnei Hashem titaru. The whole world goes under mikveh. Right? The whole world is batal on Yom Kippur. Ha-Satan is Gematria 364. He doesn't work on Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is not a normal day of the year. The whole world is like underwater. It goes back to Yom Rishon. Sukkot, the simcha of Sukkot is that the waters part again. Yom Rishon lecheshbon avonos, the Medrash says. It's the new world starts again, new account. Right? But usmachtem lifnei Hashem Elokeichem. Where did Tzuras Adam at the water parted for? Us. The waters are parting, but for us, because we use that potential to be lifnei Hashem, and that's the simcha. Usmachtem lifnei Hashem Elokeichem shivas yomim. Right? We'll just end off with one. That's right. And the whole unit of mechitza was there. You know, they were koveh the whole unit of mechitza, and that's why you need a mechitza in a shul. It's all from the takonet they made by Simchas Beis. There is a mechitza. There's a mechitza. It's the machatzti, right? But it's l'shem shamayim. It's a machlokas l'shem shamayim. Right, so there's one more. So the
Nisach is the tachlis, or it's the Olam Avodah. It's what
it's Olam Avodah. The Odom, ushaftem ma'im. You ushaftem. You do it. You do it. You raise up the ma'im. Right, you do it, and then that relation is called panim el panim, as opposed to if it would just be whatever, it would be called achar ba'achar. So one more ha'ara nifla, right? So the Gemara says in Tainus, we're also talking about the Simchas Beis Hashoeva, right? So the Gemara, betoch, there's also a drasha, one of the, I forget the lashon of the name of the Amora. He says that that one Amora once heard the Ananim say, "We're going to bring rain on Ammon and Moab." It's a Gemara in Tainus Daf Chafei. Right, we're going to bring a rain on Ammon and Moab. Right, so this Amora was Moicha. He told the Ananim, "Wait a minute, these nations weren't Makabel Torah. Amshel is Makabel Torah. Right, on them you should rain." Davar Niflamot. And then right after that, that same Amora. So you think because it's the same guy. So Gemara shtups in that he darshan Tzadik Katomar Yifrach Keres Balvon Yizke. Why Tzadik and Erez? Why Tomar and Erez? Why Tamar and Erez? Well, Tamar has Paris, but it's not Gizo Machlif. Erez is Givo Machlif, but it's Giv Paris. That's why Tzadik Katomar Keres should have that's always everlasting. Plus, it makes Paris not Kesher, right? So Lefidvar, and it's all in the middle of the sugya, dashing up on Nisuch HaMayim. Right? The shot is like this, right? The whole tachs of why it rains is because there was Matan Torah. B'schus Moshe Rabbeinu that brought Torah to the earth. The Torah is Nimshal L'mayim. Yarov Kamotar Likhi Tizal Katal Imrasi. That Shemayim arts are in sync, and the Shemayim is Mefarnes the arts, and they're really connected, and the period between them is just an illusion, right? And it's B'schus the Torah. They weren't Makabel Torah. You shouldn't rain on them. Right? You should rain on Am Yisrael. But then Tzadik Katamar Yifrach, right? That which is the lulav. It's from Kapos Tamarin, right? Tzadik Katamar Yifrach. Right, because the lulav, which is connected Yosef Atzadik, right? The lulav makes the chibur. Ma yisrael ma tamar zeh ein lo elo leiv echad, kach yisrael ein lehem elo leiv echad laviem shebashman. We do everything lishma. We just have one ratzon, just to do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. Total lishma, total is batlus, the total hakar of eino muvado. But it goes deeper than that. It's shadin ari, tzadik katamar Yifrach is Sofei Tevos Korach. Right? Korach who rebelled against Moshe Rabbeinu. And therefore, Mida, like Mari Varabi explained, Mida he has no earth beneath his feet. Because the whole tachlis of giving earth, was to be Ovid HaKadosh, to be Mevato Bedas. Be Mevato Das Bidas to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? But the whole point is that also has to be Chozel Tov. The whole point is that all the Ra is Chozel Tov, that all the Metzias of Ra is Chozel Tov, and that means even Korach has to have his Tikkun. And even Korach, Tzadik Katam Yifrach Sofei Tevos, even Basof, in Sofei Tevos, Korach will have his Tikkun. Because the whole potential for evil that comes from that Rakia B'soch HaMayim, the whole potential, that Mechatzti, that needs to still be healed, right? The whole potential, that's all us to turn L'Teva, right, and become the Tov Ma'od, the Tosefet Tova, I'll pay the Tov, right, when the whole will be upon him, so Korach will be nichlo on that, right, that even those that even rebelled against the whole concept of Machlokas Hashem and didn't recognize it, they also have to be Choyzel Tova. Ki Molards Deas Hashem, Kamayim Layam Mechasim, right, everyone will be makir that Eino Mavara leaves no room for evil, so even those who were married in the whole Metzias of Machlokas Hashem, even they will have a tikkun and become part of the Tov Ma'od, Bimhera B'Yameinu, L'chaim.
Open up.
The water, the rain is ma, the oretz is ban. That's what it says. That's what it says. That by the shvira in Safra Tzusa, Milch and misu, ba'ara it batlat. The arts was bottled. What's happening? It's going back to Israel, Aaron?
Sometimes the idea is cooperating. No answers.
Keep him here. It's good then.
As long as they do no answer, I don't have to fight them.
I'll say Hashem. Okay, that's him. Yeah, come here, Michael.
And you learned the Reb Nachman stuff?
I have my Brussels face.
Yeah?
Everyone has. Every thinking person.
Spas or?
No, Ramat Shlomo. No, it was 1 year that
It's written well. It's like it's understandable.
No, you have to. All right, is the recording material off?